Cindy looked over and was scared to death when she saw Mark outside the window gesturing to her. Ahem, what are you two doing here? Evelyn also saw Mark waving at her in the coffee shop. Mark showed her a bright smile, and the faces of all the women in the coffee shop instantly turned red. Super bright, super cool. To see such a handsome guy in a coffee shop had them all hoping he would look in their direction. Mark walked in after greeting her. Evelyn smiled gently and squeezed her voice out from beneath her teeth. Don't mention Harvey. Cindy rolled her eyes and said in a small voice, I know. I wonder how your brother got to know you were here. Could it be that he is a stalker now? Mark walked in and sat next to Evelyn. He put his arm on Evelyn's shoulder. He was tall to begin with, so he leaned back as much as possible. His handsome, carefree appearance caused the temperature in the coffee shop to rise sharply. Evelyn was under a lot of pressure. Opposite her sat an icy beauty, and beside her sat a handsome youth. Cindy curled her lips at Mark and said, Hey, don't put your arms around her shoulders. Evelyn is your sister. Mark raised his eyebrows and said bluntly, I will not listen to you. Okay. Evelyn smiled gently and asked if he wanted some cake. Mark did not move his arm away as if it had grown on Evelyn. Cindy sat across from him and shook her head. Helping the evildoer. Cindy sighed. Mark looked at her. It looks like others have stuffed your head with crazy ideas. Cindy coldly snorted and did not argue with him. She was too lazy to bother with a stinky brat. Cindy pushed the ticket to the resort into Mark's hand, then crossed her arms in front of her chest and sat with a queen's aura. The ticket to this resort is for Evelyn. This weekend is for 2 days. As her brother, who wishes for his sister to have fun, you will take care of yourself and let Evelyn relax. Mark looked at Evelyn and then at Cindy. He smiled and said, Of course I support my sister. Mark put the ticket in Evelyn's hands. Evelyn wanted to reject him. Sister, I don't have time on Sunday. I have to train. I still have matches next week, so you don't have to worry about me. You don't have to worry about me one bit, Mark said with a warm smile. He wasn't completely lying. He had little time this weekend, just that it wasn't a competition. Then train well and take care of your body. Evelyn had 100% trust in her brother. She did not doubt him at all. She accepted the ticket. Forget it. Just treat it as a change of mood. She would go. Cindy saw she accepted the ticket and heaved a sigh of relief. Mark looked at Evelyn's defenseless smile and played with her hair. Sis, I want to eat fish tonight. He would be exhausted the next day. He had to enjoy himself tonight. All right. Plus sweet and sour pork ribs. I'm going to freeload for food. Cindy got excited when she heard that. Mark glared at her. Go home and eat. Don't disturb us. I want to disturb you. Cindy was not afraid of Mark's wolfish look at all. At this moment, there was a black invitation card on the CEO's desk. On the invitation card, there was a cross with 2 knives on it. Zach said, Harvey, this is the banquet organized by Richard Glenn from the Hamilton Group. Richard has been making a lot of noise recently. He has organized his forces to stage a takeover of some of our interests. Harvey frowned and pushed the invitation card to Zach. I heard he is also a notable newcomer and is worth befriending. However, I have important matters to attend to tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow. There are a lot of people attending this party. As a businessman, I don't feel it is necessary to attend. Zach, you can go on my behalf. Richard is very sensible and will not have any problems. Yes, Harvey. Zach nodded and walked out with the invitation. Zach felt a headache coming on. He didn't know who to invite to be his date. His phone screen lit up as he thought, and an unknown number called him. Zach picked up the phone. A sweet female voice came from the other side. Zach, I'm back. After hanging up the phone, he rushed back to the office. Zach closed his eyes and said, She's back. Raquel is back. Harvey saw how scared he was, but he did not react. Oh, I see. Help me pick my clothes tomorrow. That's all. Harvey, this is no small matter. Please, I can't see Raquel. I can't see her. Zach was petrified. Harvey squinted his eyes and snorted coldly. Zach, you are still useless. Raquel is now 21 years old. In the past, she was young and a brat, but now I am sure she has changed and you can loosen up a bit. Please don't say that. She is your cousin and she is 11 years younger than me. Zach bit out excitedly. Harvey was annoyed. He slammed the pen on the table and said with a serious face, If you can't do it, you can reject Raquel until she doesn't chase you anymore. Don't you think it's pitiful that you keep running away from the daughter of the Cage family? Get out and calm down." Zach was stunned for a moment. He realized he was not calm and had lost his composure. He pursed his lips and restrained his emotions. "I'm sorry, Harvey. I lost my cool." Zach turned around and went out. He took a deep breath. He was really in a sorry state. His heart stuttered when he heard Raquel had returned. When it came to Raquel, he could not stay calm at all. On Saturday morning, Evelyn made breakfast for her and her brother. After Mark finished eating, he said goodbye to her at the door. "I'm leaving. You go have fun. Don't worry about me." He reached out and hugged her close. Mark smelled the fragrance on her hair and felt his energy replenish. "Okay, I got it. Now go." Evelyn smiled and shooed him toward the door, urging him to go. After Mark left, Evelyn received a phone call at 10 in the morning. The resort had sent someone to pick her up. Evelyn looked at the ticket in her hand and blinked. It was the highest level of customer service from what she read. The car drove outside the city a good distance. Evelyn had insisted on carrying her own bag that held a single change of clothes. Sitting in the car, she could not help but sigh as she was overwhelmed. It was indeed a resort for wealthy people. The car that came to pick her up was a beautiful, fully equipped Lincoln. Evelyn sat on the back seat with champagne and various snacks laid out before her. The driver smiled amiably and said, "Miss Petal, we still have 2 hours before arrival. You should eat some snacks or drink, or even pass the time by watching TV. The journey is quite boring. Sorry for the inconvenience." Evelyn hurriedly waved her hand. It's fine. You just drive the car and I will entertain myself. No worries at all." This treatment was a luxury she had not experienced before. She had no idea how nice of a gift this was when she received it. Evelyn sent Cindy a text message while thinking about this gift to thank her. When Cindy got the text message, Timothy was coming downstairs. Cindy's phone had a special ringtone for Evelyn. It was the sound that Evelyn had recorded for her when she was in school. The crisp and sweet voice rang cleanly. "Hey, look at my text message." Timothy heard it suddenly and couldn't help but laugh. It's just a unique voice. I haven't heard it for a long time. I felt like I was hallucinating for a moment. I'm back in the past. Cindy's beautiful and calm eyes looked at him and blinked. That's impossible. No one can go back to the past. Cindy opened the text message and saw Evelyn saying she had already left. She suddenly had a sinking feeling in the pit of her stomach. She used to say that Timothy was the best man in the world, and she liked him very much. Cindy hoped she could be with her brother. She remembered how brave and naive she was to chase after Timothy when he never reciprocated those feelings. Now, as she received this message, the image of her bitterly saying she wanted to see Harvey surfaced in her mind. She was still the same. She had never changed. When she liked someone, she was so blind that it made people's hearts ache for her. "Are you still blaming me for being angry before?" Timothy poured a cup of coffee and placed it in front of Cindy. Cindy lowered her head and said sadly, "I just don't understand." "I don't understand. If you have someone you like, I want you to be happy as your only sister. But why are you not in love now? You even rejected Megan completely. If that's the case, why can't you open up to someone?" Timothy sat beside her, reached out his hand to stroke her hair, and caressed her hand. "Sometimes emotions are more complicated. Cindy, I know that you have a relationship with Evelyn, and I know you want to protect her. I also want to protect her, but it can only be in a brotherly sort of way. She will find happiness elsewhere." Cindy smiled, but she didn't believe him. Will Evelyn find happiness with Harvey? Cindy did not think so. She only hoped that Evelyn could stay by Harvey's side for a short while and not be as stubborn as she was with her brother. "Evelyn, after a heart-wrenching pain, you must learn not to make the same mistake again. Run away from that man and take advantage of this last weekend with him." At this moment, Evelyn was lying on the back seat and taking a nap. After an unknown period, she heard someone calling her in a daze. Evelyn woke up and found that the valet was outside the car. She politely said, "Miss Petal, we have arrived. Your hotel room is the luxury presidential suite, room 101. Evelyn quickly got out of the car and took out her voucher. "This is my ticket." "Miss Petal, it doesn't matter. We were expecting you. We don't need this ticket. Please enjoy the beautiful time at the resort." Evelyn carried her bag and held the ticket in confusion. Her heart was filled with doubts. Even if they knew who she was, why wouldn't they ask for the ticket? Were they not afraid that she would come back with the same ticket in the future? Evelyn felt like a fool with the type of questions bothering her. Rich people had plenty of high-tech gadgets to track such things, and there was a reason why they did not want tickets. There was no need for her to care so much. She just wanted to enjoy it. Evelyn swiped her card and entered after traveling up to the presidential suite. She threw her bag onto the sofa and rolled onto the huge, plush, king-sized bed. After rolling around a few times, Evelyn blinked at the ceiling. Don't think about Harvey. Evelyn, have a good time. Ding dong. The doorbell rang at this moment. Evelyn got up and opened the door. She looked at the handsome waiter outside. The waiter brought a light green gift box to her and said with a smile, "This is part of our VIP service. Lunch is about to start. You can go to the restaurant on the first floor and enjoy it. Dinner's at 6:30 this evening. I hope you can put on your formal clothes. I will bring you to Riverside Island for dinner. This is also our special treat." Evelyn took over her things in a daze. Only when the waiter left did Evelyn come back to her senses. She closed the door, carried the gift box, and walked to the sofa to sit down. She opened the box to reveal a dark green chiffon skirt. To actually provide clothes? This was indeed a VIP treatment. This treatment was a bit too high-end. It was just like winning the lottery. So beautiful. Evelyn opened her eyes wide. The chiffon was pieced together to form a slightly fluffy skirt. The skirt line was very smooth and flowing, like layers of waves. Evelyn could almost see the wind blowing over. The way the skirt moved so freely around her body was breathtaking. But that was not the point. The point was that the design looked very familiar. She felt as if it was Alex's work for a moment. That was impossible. She must have been imagining things. She probably missed Harvey so much that she was conjuring things related to him. She was so useless. Evelyn had never believed Harvey arranged all this. She only thought that her yearning had turned into an illness. How would Evelyn react when she learns that all of it had been arranged by Harvey? Would Harvey's attempts at reconciliation bear fruits? Or would this infuriate Evelyn even further? Would Cindy's role in Harvey's plan have a bearing on her and Evelyn's friendship? Episode 62. Are you happy to see me? In the house of cages, Zach walked into the large walk-in closet to choose clothes for Harvey. The room was full of men's clothes, lined up in neat rows. There were shirts and ties in the closet, and shoes of all sorts on the third floor of the closet. There were also hats, watches, ties, brooches, scarves, and other accessories. Harvey built his clothing brand and wore the clothes designed by his own company. When designers in the company designed men's suits, they would unconsciously think of Harvey as their model, so every design here was suitable for Harvey. Zach picked up a light blue suit and showed it to Harvey. "How about this?" "A little too formal," Harvey said, glancing around. Zach put it down and picked up a red suit. "How about this?" Harvey frowned. "This color is too in your face. Show me another color." Zach shuffled through the clothes and saw a black suit. Next, he picked up a dark wine red shirt and matched it with the suit. Zach raised it and said, "Harvey, how about this?" Harvey looked at it and nodded with satisfaction. "Yes, I'll wear this tomorrow night. Help me choose the one for tonight." "All right, let me see." After walking for a while, Zach's hand landed on a dark green suit. Since it was a date, it naturally had to be less formal, and it should not be boring. If a silver gray shirt was to be matched, Zach held up a blue shirt in his hand and raised it. "How about this?" Harvey looked up and down. He took out a dark pocket handkerchief from the side and put it on his neck. He was much more satisfied. "This is the one for tonight. Help me get it to the resort. Also pick a suit with dark blue stripes. The cufflinks of gold look good." "Yes, Harvey." Zach nodded, his eyes shining under his glasses. This was the first time the CEO had personally picked out clothes. The CEO's taste was excellent, and Evelyn's style was also classy. She would usually just take a casual set and wear it. She would not think so much about it. Even the dinner was selected by him. But this was the first time he chose clothes for a date with a woman. People could change. Maybe if Harvey kept coming into contact with Evelyn, that icy heart might also melt away. The deal was that Harvey would cut all ties with Evelyn. After all, he had already agreed to be engaged. If the president loses the battle with his grandmother, he will have to keep his promise and marry Sierra to protect the CEO of the company's position. Zach did not know what the president would do in 2 months, but he would always be on the man's side, whatever he chose. He would carry out any decision the man made without hesitation. "Zach, I need to talk to you about something," Harvey said. He stood up and straightened his clothes in front of the mirror. "I've already helped you with your date tonight." Zach was startled. He smiled and said gratefully, "Thank you for your help." "It's no worries. She said she would not come after me as long as you let her be your date." He realized his previous words were wrong now. This man was just thinking of his own feelings and had sold him out. At 4:30 in the afternoon, Harvey drove to the resort. He got out of the car and pushed up his sunglasses. The lobby manager walked to him and respectfully greeted. "Harvey, you are here." Harvey opened his thin lips and asked, "Has the woman I made arrangements for arrived?" The lobby manager nodded as he welcomed him into the hotel. "We've made all the arrangements. Room 101 of the presidential suite. The clothes have been sent over." "Very good. I look forward to tonight's dinner." "Mr. Cage, don't worry. I will make sure everything is arranged properly." Harvey had nothing to worry about. Since Cindy had given her the invitation, Evelyn would be under his control. Everything was as he had planned it. Harvey got into the elevator and checked into room 102 next to Evelyn. Before entering the room, Harvey stopped in front of Evelyn's door. An unexpected flood of emotion welled up in Harvey's heart. He didn't know when it happened, but his heart was beating faster. The thought that he had not seen Evelyn for a week and that she was one door away from him made him want to break in immediately. Harvey curled his lower lip and gently stroked Evelyn's door with his finger with this thought in mind. "Are you still holding a grudge for that slap, Evelyn? The wound on my hand is already healed. You're not allowed to hold a grudge anymore." Harvey resisted the urge to break the door and enter the room. He sat on the sofa and read the financial newspaper for a while. Harvey waited for the time to pass, waiting for the night to come. Tonight, he would give Evelyn a date like none she had experienced before. He was going to make her remember it for the rest of her life. No, not just tonight. Today and tomorrow, he was going to give her unprecedented happiness. It was a date that guaranteed she'd never have feelings for anyone like this. At 6 o'clock sharp, someone knocked on Evelyn's door and said that he was going to do her hair and makeup. Evelyn felt that this was the considerate arrangement of the hotel and wanted her to be a real-life fairy tale just once. Evelyn did not have any objections and let them do it. At 6:15, Evelyn changed her clothes and walked out of the room. Along the way, everyone who met her could not help but look at her. Evelyn heard somebody whispering, Hey, where's this young lady from? She's dressed so beautifully. She's just out of this world, making people jealous. No, I have to go back and buy different skincare. My skin must be as good as hers. Doesn't she look familiar? She looks like the clock model." Evelyn felt a little embarrassed. She wondered if she would be all right if they recognized her. She had promised Mark that she wouldn't model any longer. The waiter seemed to be able to tell from her expression that Evelyn was not comfortable. He turned around and whispered, "Miss Petal, please relax. People only remark because you are too beautiful. They will not disturb you. Don't worry." Evelyn waved her hand awkwardly. "No, I don't mean anything. I'm just not used to it." Evelyn's heart rate sped up as she followed the waiter. She did not know why, but she suddenly had a feeling that her future was unknown. Why did this special service make her heart beat so fast? Evelyn was led to the edge of a lake. The lake flowed beneath a row of wooden bridges. The wooden bridges extended out of the water, and a pavilion was at a distance. There was a table in the middle of the pavilion, obviously waiting for someone to have a meal there. Evelyn looked at the lobby manager and asked, "This place is so beautiful." The 2 crystal lights on the bridge were lit with candles. The surrounding lights were dim and the red carpet laid out. In front of her eyes was a calm lake, and the round moon was reflected in the water. The mountains in the distance were statuesque and were reflected in stunning detail on the lake's surface. Evelyn felt moved by the scenery, as she could recall nothing that she had seen this breathtaking before. "It's really beautiful." The waiter said, "Miss Petal, please have a seat. We have prepared this just for you. Please sit for a while and watch the performance. The dishes will be ready soon." Evelyn nodded and walked to the table to sit down. Performance? Evelyn tilted her head and wondered what kind of performance it was. There was no stage anywhere in sight. Not long after, a boat slowly sailed across the lake. Evelyn was stunned for a moment, and the sight completely captured her. Is it a drama? The music sounded. Evelyn smiled and held her chin to enjoy it. A handsome man stood alongside the ship and said, "This damn storm will devour me tonight. I only hope that if I sink to the bottom of the sea, I can listen to the mermaids' beautiful singing." After the prince finished speaking, he suddenly jumped into the water. The splash startled Evelyn, and she quickly bent over to look down into the water. She did not know where the beautiful woman came from, but she suddenly saved the prince from the water. There was a huge rock coming out of the lake, and they sat on it. The lower half of the woman's body was a mermaid's tail. Evelyn's heart skipped a beat. Little Mermaid. Why was it so coincidental that it had to be this performance? At the end of the play, the Little Mermaid was finally going to turn into foam. The boat was slowly moving backward when the little beauty suddenly reached out of the boat and handed a shell to Evelyn. Evelyn looked up at her and stretched her arm to take the shell. Countless bubbles suddenly appeared around her, and the night wind blew. She did not know how they had done it, but the Little Mermaid completely disappeared into the light beam. Evelyn held the shell and stared at the boat fading into the distance. Until one day, when it turns into a bubble. The Little Mermaid should not have fallen in love with the prince. It was a path of no return. If she fell in love, there was no turning back. The Little Mermaid fell in love, so she did not care about her safety. Before turning into a bubble, she tried her best to chase after the prince, but to no avail. What about her? She wasn't a little mermaid, and she didn't want to turn into a bubble, so could she go back to her normal life? The sound of footsteps came from behind. Evelyn's heart was beating quickly. Her blood boiled, her fingers and body began to tremble. A warning bell suddenly went off in Evelyn's head. A voice inside was shouting for her not to turn around, because if she turned around, she'd be doomed forever. However, her fingers were burning. She could feel fate gently pulling her from behind. She thought she would never have such a crazy impulse again, but it turned out that the flame of love had never been extinguished. She had to run away. On the other hand, she wanted to see him. Even if she was doomed, she still had an inexplicable drive to be with the man. She wanted to see that devastatingly beautiful face again. For a second, she begged the heavens, hoping that the one standing in front of her was not Harvey. If it were, she would be lost. However, she met a pair of cold eyes when she turned around. The person had a smile on his lips as he looked straight into her eyes. "Evelyn, are you happy to see me, or do you hate me?" The deep voice was like a violin that shook people's hearts and pierced Evelyn's mind. Would Evelyn forgive his betrayal, or lash out at him for what she had to go through because of him? How could she forgive Harvey after being slapped for taking his side? But how could she not? After all, he was the one who had her heart. What would be the outcome of this dilemma induced by her love and hate for Harvey? Episode 63, A Dreamy Date. Evelyn opened her mouth, but could not speak as her throat felt dry at the moment. Even her breathing was heavy. Disgusting. "I hate you. I hate you. I don't want to see you, as I know that I will act irrationally and run to you if that happens. Even though I was slapped by you and almost died in that damn game, my heart is stupid and wants to see you." "I knew you would say that, but it doesn't matter. I don't care if you hate me or not," Harvey said, sizing her up. She looked like an otherworldly goddess in front of him. She was agile, beautiful beyond comparison. The smile on Harvey's lips became more intense. That's his woman. The restlessness in his heart was slightly calmed. Harvey walked toward Evelyn step by step. Behind his back, he held a large bouquet of champagne roses. Evelyn stood stiffly and did not answer by moving closer to him. Harvey put the flowers in the vase on the table and said, "Do they look good? Do you like them?" Evelyn clenched her hands and lowered her head, trying to suppress her wild heartbeat. She asked, "Are you the one who planned all this? You arranged to get me here? And this dress is also part of the ploy, right? Harvey, what exactly do you want from me?" Harvey looked at her and asked, "Do you want to guess?" Evelyn bit her lower lip. "I am not interested in guessing. You are too conniving with everything. I am not something that you can use as you please. As Evelyn spoke, her breathing became ragged, and she could not even speak properly. Harvey looked at her slender body, trembling, and his heart felt her pain. He reached out and pulled her into his embrace. It's very cool out here tonight. Harvey hugged her tightly and said. Evelyn twisted her lips and struggled. Let go! Let go of me, Harvey! Evelyn, you make me feel very warm all over. Harvey's voice sounded beside her ear. His hair brushed against her ear, and it was exceptionally soft. Evelyn stopped struggling. Cunning man. He had embarrassed her so badly that day. But now he said such words. Why was this hug so warm? Why did this callous guy have such a sweet embrace? It was not fair. Liar. Evelyn bit her lip. Is it fun to play with me? Do you think I will obediently be at your beck and call if you say something nice? I won't. Stop dreaming. You haven't seen me for a week. Do you miss me? Harvey asked with his lips curled. No, Evelyn said. I was free from all your games when you were not around. Harvey raised his eyebrows. His deep voice drifted in the darkness. Evelyn, your words are very painful to my heart to hear. I am a powerful man. It is too arrogant of you to talk to me like this, but... Harvey let go of Evelyn. Harvey bent over and lifted her chin. Evelyn was surprised. He kissed her and licked his lips. But I will tolerate you. I miss you a little after not seeing you for a week. Harvey was always so high and mighty. Evelyn opened her mouth, but there were still many stubborn and sharp words that she couldn't vent. She did not forgive him at all. She did not want to give such a wicked man a second chance. However, the burning sensation on her lips numbed her, making her unable to speak. Did he miss her a little? She wasn't the only one suffering this week. Did he miss her? All the angry words could not be said. Evelyn was held in place, a puppet for him to use at will. The waiters came to serve delicate dishes one after another. The violin was playing in the distance. Harvey opened the shell she got from the Little Mermaid actress. Inside was a beautiful necklace with blue diamond that perfectly matched the foam from the play earlier. It was beautiful and shining in the candlelight. Evelyn looked at the necklace and frowned. Did this mean she should be a little mermaid and turn into foam? I won't accept it, Evelyn said as she held Harvey's hand. She had more or less guessed that Alex designed this dress, so Harvey had chosen the clothes that matched the scene very well to match the drama series or even the necklace. However, Harvey probably did not understand. Though she liked all of Alex's series, the theme of this new series made her feel uneasy. You can't refuse a man's gift, Harvey said in her ear. His husky voice was sultry and burned her ear. Besides, you can't ever refuse me. What is this, Harvey? Evelyn blinked and asked in a daze. Harvey said with a frown, Don't you realize that this is a date I specially prepared for you? Champagne, roses, a suit, and a gift I carefully selected. Men only do this when they see a woman they care about. Her hand stopped Harvey as she looked down. Evelyn's face was completely red and she could not resist. Her heart was pounding. After putting on the necklace for her, he sat back in his seat. He narrowed his cold eyes and said, I knew this necklace was perfect for you. It also matches your skirt. Evelyn picked up her knife and fork but did not reply to him. She lowered her head to eat. She didn't want to like these clothes and jewelry as Harvey took it as they were dating. Let this night continue to be beautiful for the sake of the false promise of something between them. Despite her better judgment, she could not forget about the events of that night. The two of them ate for a while. Evelyn's eyes fell on Harvey's left hand. Harvey saw her gaze and raised his left hand. Do you mind? Evelyn hurriedly turned her face away and said, No. The corner of Harvey's lips curled up slightly. Do you want to know what happened to my left hand? Evelyn swallowed the thing in her mouth and wiped her mouth. She shut her mouth. I do care, but don't misunderstand. It is because I am too kind. I know how your hand was injured, so I can't leave it alone. That's why I wanted to ask. Is your hand better? It's not broken, right? So much blood that day. Is it all right now? Harvey put his hand on the table and put it in front of her. He said matter-of-factly, "Here, confirm it for yourself." Evelyn's eyes widened. "What kind of trouble are you looking for? How can I confirm?" Harvey curled his lips. "Do you have a way to confirm it? Stop messing around. Just tell me if your hand works properly. You don't need me to confirm it." Evelyn blushed and urged him angrily. "Don't joke around. Who's going to grab his hand to confirm something like this?" "If you're not sure, I don't know how to convince you," Harvey said casually. As black as ink, his eyes were filled with something hot and bothersome. Evelyn thought this guy was so fearless. She did not need to confirm at all. But his hand was placed in front of her. The dripping blood from before had completely disappeared, though she still cringed as she recalled the images. She reached out her hand carefully, and Evelyn touched his hand. Although her heartache might not be appreciated, she still wanted to feel sorry for him. "Harvey, you don't know what's good for you. You would be grateful for my kindness. Even after being treated like that, I still feel sorry for you." Evelyn's face turned red when his hand touched the warmth of her skin as she hooked his fingers with her own. Harvey held her hand in his hand and unceremoniously pulled it over to his lips and kissed it. "Tisk. It looks like my hand is completely fine, as my movements are still so agile." Evelyn pulled her hand back in annoyance. "How can you trample on others' good intentions so wantonly? You launched a sneak attack. Let go." No matter how hard she tried, she could not pull her hand back. Evelyn was a little anxious. Harvey curled his lips to reveal a faint smile. "No, Evelyn. That night you ran away in such a sorry state." Evelyn was startled, and her heart ached. She looked at him and muttered, "Why did you mention this? Why did you suddenly mention this?" Evelyn immediately recalled all the emotions of that night. If it weren't for Timothy, she would not have safely made it home that night. He didn't even know how she had run off barefoot. If he had deliberately brought her to this place to humiliate her, she would have to wonder if she was so blind. She had taken a fancy to him. "I have something to say. Regarding the stubborn and uncompromising Evelyn, there is one thing I must say. When you grabbed my hand that night, I was very regretful that I could not grab your hand. When I faced that person, I could only let you leave. No matter how many times I play that day in my head, I cannot see myself chase you. Evelyn, the Cage family is not as simple as you think. But now I have you safe in my arms, and I won't let you go." Evelyn was stunned. Harvey, who stood on the clouds, CEO of a major company. Harvey, who didn't like to explain. And the proud and arrogant man had told her what he was thinking. Her heart was shaking. Seeing him holding her hand, Evelyn only felt that the temperature of her fingertips was too hot. Contemplating it, she had lost control and shouted at the old matriarch of the Cage family. Was it because Harvey had slapped her and coldly chased her away? It was actually to protect her. It shouldn't be like this. If he was like this, then was all this just for show to distract her? What sweet words. Evelyn pulled her hand back. Her face was burning and her mouth was dry. She was feeling uneasy. She grabbed the red wine beside her and drank it without thinking. She lowered her head and did not look at him. "You talk too much tonight for no reason. You are not like the usual Harvey. Hurry and change back." Evelyn's heart was about to explode. She was at a loss for what to do. Harvey, who was so gentle, it would make her lose her mind. When devils seduce people's souls, they would say sweet words and smile charmingly. Harvey must have an end in sight. He always did things with a purpose. Harvey narrowed his dark eyes and smirked. "Why? Aren't you used to it? Don't you like gentlemen? I'll show you my gentle side tonight." Evelyn blinked and frowned. Harvey and gentle? Together? No, it's impossible. Harvey's face darkened. "Evelyn, do you want to make me angry?" It was rare for him to be so gentle to her. How could this woman not know what was good for her? Evelyn looked at Harvey and giggled. "That's more like it. This is the Harvey that I know, and when you act like this, I can recognize you." There was no need to be overly attentive. Even if it was the usual Harvey, she still liked him. It would be better to say that she liked him more than his true self. Overconfident and arrogant, she liked all sides of him. Evelyn's soft features and the flickering candlelight made her look especially beautiful. It was the smile he'd longed for since they were separated. To see her smile like this, tonight's preparations were truly worth it. Harvey put his hands in his pockets and asked, "Do you want to dance?" Evelyn snorted. "It's not like you don't know that I don't dance well. There's a wooden bridge under the red carpet. It is dangerous for me to wear heels on that surface." Harvey stood up and walked over to her. He held out his hand and said, "Take off your shoes and dance with me. You can stand on my feet." "Wouldn't that hurt?" Evelyn lowered her head shyly. Her heart was beating fast. She wouldn't want to hurt him when things were settling down. "You know how to ruin the mood. Don't worry, even if you stand on my feet, you are light as a feather." His words moved Evelyn. She carefully took off her shoes and stood on his feet. They were very close. Evelyn leaned against her chest. Her face was as red as a tomato. Harvey held her hand with one hand and wrapped the other around her waist. He curled his lips confidently. "See, even carrying you, I can still dance beautifully. I am Harvey, and I have many talents," the arrogant man said and danced with her. The two of them were very close to each other. Harvey's scent kept rolling off his body. Evelyn felt a little dizzy from the smell. It was as if she was dreaming. She was dancing on a date with Harvey, hoping tonight would never end. However, some people wished that this night would quickly pass at this moment. Mark was walking among the crowd in a light white suit in the private manor. A brooch with a cross made up of 2 blades was on his chest. Half of a black mask covered his face from the nose up. So far, no one knew what he looked like, except for the group's elite members and his men. But this was not unusual at the party. After all, many people at this ball were active in the dark underworld and kept a low profile, so masks were worn. Zach did not wear a mask. Businessmen had nothing to fear. What was this party all about? Evelyn modeled for the Cage Group, and Zach, the assistant of the person at the helm of the Cage Group, was present at the party. How would things unfold when Mark meets Zach? Episode 64, Intoxicated. Mark greeted many people from afar. Zach stood where he was, feeling a little anxious. He hoped he could quickly greet the host of this banquet so that he could leave this place. To be exact, he needed to get away from the beautiful woman at his side. 21 years old was still a young girl in Zach's eyes. But, Zach, what kind of underwear are you wearing today? I mean nothing by this question. It's just a 21-year-old girl's curiosity. Zach, you also said that I don't know anything. So as a former teacher, can you teach me? What's the true difference between a man's and a woman's body? Zach was about to break down. What was the woman whispering in his ear? He was wrong. He knew he was wrong. He shouldn't have said that she was still young and knew nothing. In the end, he provoked this young lady of the Cage family. At this moment, Miss Raquel Cage was bombarding him with tiny torments, making him squirm. Zach clenched his fist with difficulty and tried to resist. "Oh, Miss Cage, I think you should ask your anatomy teacher about this." Raquel, who had a unique pair of black and slightly blue eyes, heard his words and narrowed her eyes. She smiled and moved closer to his ear to act coquettishly. "Don't be like this. You are also my teacher, right? Teacher, tell me, how do men and women do things? I am very curious." Zach's ears turned red, and he covered his ears. What had Raquel learned in the past few years abroad? To say such bold words in such a sexy voice? Which bastard taught her? Zach's body heated uncontrollably. He almost wanted to run away from this place. It was all the fault of that cynical CEO. He went on a date and left him here. He even asked Raquel to come with him. This was too much. Somebody, anyone, save me, Zach thought. "Zach, I'm thrilled that you came to represent the Cages in this banquet." A deep voice sounded. Zach felt relieved for a moment. This voice was like a lifesaver. Zach took a deep breath and smiled at the masked man, slightly taller than him. "Richard, It is my honor to attend your banquet. It is a pity that Harvey has something else he was previously committed to and could not attend. Please know he sends his apologies and is certain he will make it up to you later." Zach focused his attention on the mystery man that appeared in front of him. He used his skills and Harvey's advice to observe from a distance during the entire party. He was about 6 feet, 1 inch tall, about the same height as Harvey. His voice was not old, and he had the aura of a young man, but was naturally domineering. He was a character that could not be underestimated. "I understand the Cage's sincerity from the last time. Please don't worry CEO Cage with any concerns. I don't mind." His manner of speaking was so mature that no one could guess that he was only 21 years old. The man paused before saying, "I just want to ask something I'm interested in." Zach's eyes flickered behind his glasses and his heart dropped. What information about Harvey was he interested in? His occupation instinctively put Zach on the defensive. Raquel seemed to sense his tension beside him and leaned her body against him to comfort him. Zach was startled and his mind was in a mess. He then warned himself not to think too much about it. Mark's thin lips curled up slightly. "May I ask if the Cages and the clock model have a contract for future work?" Zach heaved a sigh of relief when he heard this. So it was about a woman. After Evelyn became a model, these kinds of questions kept popping up. This had already caused Zach some trouble. However, he still let out a sigh that this was the question. Evelyn was a miraculous woman. She could attract so many crazy admirers with just a bit of makeup. It was quite impressive. "I'm sorry," Zach said with a smile. "The model is just an ordinary girl we hire occasionally. It's a pity that she doesn't want to be a model, so she probably won't work with us again." After all, he was not someone to be trifled with, and he definitely could not reveal Evelyn's information to anyone. "Is that so? Well, that's a pity," Mark said, but he was relieved. Evelyn did not have to carry him on her back as a model. He nodded at Zach, smiling. "Then I have nothing else to do here this evening. Zach, please enjoy this banquet. I will take my leave now." "You're welcome," Zach said. He was still confused when Mark walked away. He frowned and asked himself silently, "Is it over now?" That didn't make sense. Since he had been asked about the model, wouldn't he try to get contact information for her if she was available? Zach didn't feel like this was over and knew he had to keep his guard up if the man returned. The point of that question was unsettling. He might not be familiar with the woman and thus not know of her relationship with his boss, but perhaps he was fishing for information. Standing at the side, Raquel raised her eyebrows and rolled her beautiful eyes as she analyzed the situation. Zach thought for a while and said, "Maybe not." Evelyn was just an ordinary woman. No one would guess her to be in a relationship with Harvey. Could it be that something related her to the boss of the Hamilton group? No matter how he thought about it, it was impossible. "Speaking of relationships, aren't you going to invite me for a dance?" The beautiful voice of the woman beside him sounded. Zach's hair stood on end. "Raquel, I was wondering if I should leave now, as I've already greeted everyone I needed to this evening." "Oh, that's good too. I was just about to continue with my questioning of you. You can show it to me when we get back." Raquel looked at Zach and smiled sweetly. She opened her cherry lips and said, "Zach's underwear." "Please dance with me," Zach stammered, his face alternating between white and red. "Harvey, I hate you," Zach shouted in his head. Poor thing. Harvey was probably not thinking of him at the resort. Even if he was tortured to death here, he was very busy. Very busy. On the sofa in the presidential suite, Evelyn flopped on the furniture and giggled. "So many, Harvey." 2. Oh no, 3. Her eyes were glazed and her cheeks were unusually flushed. She was drunk. Harvey pulled off his tie and asked, "Evelyn, are you drunk?" Evelyn waved her hand grandly. "How can I be drunk? I only had a couple of drinks and still want more." This wine is wonderful." Harvey squinted his eyes and sat beside her. This was the first time he saw Evelyn when she was drunk. He was very curious to see how she'd act. Come to my place. I'll give you a drink." Evelyn leaned against Harvey in a daze. She clung to his arm and looked up. "Wine. Give me wine." Harvey's eyes were black. He took a sip of the wine and leaned over to Evelyn's lips. She tasted the delicious wine and begged for more. It tasted so good. Evelyn sucked carefully while arms wrapped around Harvey's neck as if she couldn't get enough. Oh, it's so sweet. I still want more. Harvey's heart skipped a beat and his eyes turned even darker. He said in a low voice, "This reaction is better than I thought." The alcohol had turned the innocent, sweet woman into a seductive little demon. Harvey wrapped his arms around Evelyn's waist and licked her lips, which were swollen because of the kiss. The air in the room was electric. Evelyn opened her eyes wide in confusion and muttered, "It's so hot." As she spoke, she went to pull her clothes. Harvey did not stop her, but helped the little vixen and coaxed, "Be good. If you take them all off, it will not be hot anymore." Evelyn's skirt was messed up as she tilted her head to look at him. "Aren't you hot?" Harvey narrowed his eyes, grabbed her hand, and placed it on his shirt. "It's extremely hot in here, so can you help me take off my clothes?" Evelyn's face was red, but she nodded obediently. She reached out her hand to help him take off his shirt. The tip of her fingertips caressed Harvey as she struggled to take his shirt off. The more curious she was, the more alluring she became. "Take off the belt, too," Harvey said. Evelyn obediently took off his belt. Because it was difficult, she had to focus fully on the task to make it happen. She struggled so hard that she knelt on the sofa before taking it off. She took off his belt and said, "Mission accomplished." Evelyn leaned forward and fell into Harvey. Harvey smiled with an evil grin and helped her sit on top of him. He hugged her and whispered, "Evelyn, you made me so mad. Take responsibility." Evelyn tilted her head and asked innocently, "Responsible?" Harvey nodded. "Yes, because you were bad, you have to take responsibility. Use your body to take responsibility." "Okay." Evelyn was obedient and did not know she had fallen into the wild wolf's trap. The next morning, Evelyn woke up with a splitting headache. It was a completely unfamiliar bed and a room she did not recognize. Evelyn was at a loss for a few seconds before she rested her hand on her forehead. "Oh, it hurts. Oh, my head hurts." Evelyn did not drink often. She did not drink alcohol because she could not handle the stuff. What happened last night? Where am I? Evelyn thought on the bed before she realized what was going on. She remembered that she and Harvey were at the resort. They had a drink and danced during dinner. After that, she had no memory of what happened after that. "You're awake?" Evelyn heard a voice and looked up. Harvey walked out of the bathroom in a bathrobe. There were water droplets on his body. Evelyn was stunned for a few seconds before she called out, "Ah! Why did you come out of my bathroom?" Evelyn burst out angrily. "This is where I stayed last night. Stop looking so angry." Evelyn heard Harvey's words and was stunned for a moment. A bad feeling welled up in her midsection. Evelyn felt herself under the blanket and her teeth chattered from anger. "You took advantage of me when I was drunk," Evelyn said, glaring at Harvey. "Bastard!" Harvey looked at her with his hooded eyes. "Don't you remember what happened last night?" Evelyn twisted her lips and shook her head. What exactly happened last night? He sat on the bed and looked at Evelyn coldly. He said seriously, "Evelyn, we did what we both wanted. You should know that you threw yourself at me last night." Evelyn retorted with a firm gaze. "Liar! I refuse to believe you." "Evelyn, I'm afraid you don't know how bad you handle your alcohol," Harvey said. "You were so passionate when you were drunk. You helped me take off my clothes and even stepped on my toes." "Oh, right. Do you want to know what kind of embarrassing things you said yesterday?" "You! Don't say it. Don't say it. I know. I was drunk and lost my mind and inhibitions. Just pretend that nothing happened." Evelyn covered her ears. She didn't want to hear it and didn't dare to listen. She didn't want to talk about what happened last night. Harvey stood up and walked in front of her. He pulled off his bathrobe. Evelyn saw the kiss mark on Harvey's collarbone and immediately turned her face away to bite her lower lip. She had to admit that she had a bad feeling last night. Because there were kiss marks and scratch marks on Harvey's body, it was obvious what she had been doing. Evelyn never knew that she would do such shameless things. Evelyn looked discouraged. She buried her face in the blanket and said in a muffled voice, "I'm sorry for what I did last night. I'm sorry." Harvey's dark eyes sparkled. He did not expect Evelyn to be so gullible. She believed his words the moment he spoke them. She thought she was the one who took the initiative. Harvey got closer to Evelyn and made a request. So if you want to apologize, you have to be truly sincere. Today, go on a date with me to apologize for being so pushy last night. Evelyn said nothing. Her heart was filled with confusion and anger. Forced him? He was strong enough that he could throw her across the room if he chose. How could she push him down? This bastard took advantage of her and was acting like he was the wronged party. This was too much. However, she did not know what trouble he would cause if she rejected him. She could only reply dejectedly, "Okay, good girl." Harvey wanted to laugh. He had no issues with lying to her to bend her to his will. By the way, one more thing. Harvey walked into the bedroom and stopped a few feet away from her. Evelyn looked up at him tiredly. Harvey smiled faintly. "I think you should try sexy underwear. Red lace or something." "Harvey, go to hell!" Evelyn angrily threw a pillow at his head and interrupted his shameless words. After breakfast, Harvey handed a gift box to Evelyn and ordered, "Today, wear this and go on a date with me." Evelyn was displeased. "Why do I have to dress up according to your request?" Harvey raised his eyebrows. "Because you forced yourself on me last night. Isn't this reason enough for you to do as I say?" "You shameless." Evelyn grabbed the gift box and angrily walked to her room. Harvey leaned on the door and looked at her back. He smiled and raised his eyebrows. "Don't mess around because you're angry. You need to put on makeup. I only date the most beautiful, okay?" Evelyn opened the door and looked at him before returning to the room. She closed the door and calmed her heartbeat and breathing. Evelyn went to the bedroom and threw herself on the bed. So embarrassing. Why? Evelyn, why are you so useless? You throw yourself at that kind of guy. After scolding herself for 10 minutes on the bed, Evelyn took a deep breath and sat up. This stay at the resort had already been full of surprises. Now, Harvey had asked her to get ready. What other surprises were waiting for Evelyn? Or were it shocks that awaited her? Episode 65, Fun Rides. Evelyn thought that no matter how bad things looked, life had to continue. Evelyn felt there was no point in trying to change what was done, so she decided to get ready as asked by Harvey. She opened the box Harvey gave her. Today's dress was purple and molded to her body perfectly. There was a circle of purple flowers on the front to give added detail. There was a thin sofa shawl made of purple lace on the outside. The hem of the dress was sewn with some details that made the material look like it had actual movement to it. Evelyn thought she looked casual and cute when she put the dress on. Today's shoes were also simple ballet slippers with built-up soles. They looked specially prepared for her. It was quite thoughtful, if she was honest. There were no patterns on the pink shoes, and a ribbon was tied into a bow shape. It was adorable. After Evelyn finished changing, she sat in front of the dressing table and put on the necklace. She twisted her hair up into a clean updo as her brain kept mulling over everything happening. Evelyn pouted at herself in the mirror. This is for the sake of not wasting beautiful clothes. It has nothing to do with Harvey. She wasn't dressed for a date. Evelyn took the curling iron and finished her hair. She used the butterfly hairpin to hold part of her hair in place, making it look more in line with the dress. Evelyn was a fashion designer after all. She was confident in her dressing. After everything was in place, Evelyn stood up and opened the door and walked out of the room. The moment she exited, she saw someone leaning against the wall. Evelyn was shocked and took a step back to the side. When she took a closer look, she realized it was Harvey. Without waiting for Evelyn to complain, Harvey straightened up and sized her up. "Evelyn, I found an issue with you." Evelyn's face was a little red. She held her arms and looked at him warily. "What? What do you mean?" Harvey smiled mockingly. "I found out that you can dress well, despite not normally doing so. I would give you 70 points out of 100. Evelyn frowned. What's the reason for deducting 30 points? She was a fashion designer, and she was very confident in herself. Why did he deduct 30 points? Harvey swept his gaze across her chest and said regretfully, "There is no perfect score for any woman." Evelyn could not even answer such a stupid remark. Instead, she turned to ask, "Where are we going today?" Harvey held her hand and said, "Where do you want to go? The art museum, the opera house, the golf course, the aquarium, the botanical garden, the movie theater. Is there anywhere you would like to go today? Evelyn lowered her head and reflected. Evelyn thought back to the time she had been trying to date Timothy. Because she was not very old, she had always wanted to go to the amusement park with him and had thought if she was given a single date that it was what she would have asked for from Timothy. But for some reason, Timothy did not want to go to the amusement park. Timothy hated the amusement park. Evelyn still did not know why, but the amusement park was the perfect place for a couple to enjoy themselves on a fun date. Because she had never experienced it herself, she held on to that dream. The amusement park, Evelyn exclaimed. Everything felt like a dream. She was finally going to an amusement park on a date. Evelyn blinked and realized after she blurted out the theme park idea that it might not be appropriate for today. She thought that someone like Harvey would not go to the amusement park. After all, he was the CEO of Cage's group. No matter how much he bickered with her, he was still someone with status. Harvey's mouth twitched. He hesitated and said, "Do you want to go anywhere else? Do you have to go to the amusement park? I think the opera house is a good choice." Evelyn opened her mouth and thought, "Let's go, Harvey. You want to go on a date with me, right? Since it's a date, you want to go to places I'm happy with, and I want to go to the amusement park." Only the amusement park was the place to let loose. The place would also highlight the difference between rich people and those of her level. She still had a stubborn obsession with the amusement park. Harvey was someone she liked, but he probably wouldn't want her any longer after this date. She didn't even know if there was a possibility of a second date, so she wanted to go where she thought couples should for this rare occasion. Evelyn's heart was pounding. She did not know if Harvey would allow her to be so willful. Harvey imagined taking her to the opera or the botanical garden, but he did not expect an amusement park. Evelyn would not have fun if he said no, which would be against his purpose. Today he would make her happy so that he could say what he wanted to say. With his lower lip curled, Harvey agreed. "Okay, let's go to the amusement park." Harvey reached out his hand and pulled Evelyn closer. He made a prompt decision. "If you want to have fun, you have to change your clothes. It just so happens that there is a shop here. Let's go." Evelyn was stunned and reached out her hand to pull him. Wait, are you going? With your high profile, an amusement park might not be a good idea." "Well, this is the first time I will go to such a place," Harvey said. Evelyn's pupils dilated in disbelief. "The first time?" Harvey raised his head arrogantly. "Of course it's my first time. My childhood was very busy. Do you think I'm as free-spirited as you?" "This is also my first time." Evelyn did not care about Harvey's sarcasm. She gripped his hand in excitement. It was like a dream. It was their first time going to an amusement park. Matter of fact, it was their first intimate date, like an actual couple. Harvey saw her eyes were shining. He suddenly felt that this compromise seemed to be meaningful. He hated compromising, but now he felt that it was worth it to make her so happy. Harvey firmly set his lips and pulled Evelyn along to buy clothes. Harvey did not wear a lot of sportswear. He felt that he would be overdressed if he wore such clothing. Even his t-shirt was very delicate and expensive. When they changed into the same hoodie, Harvey almost frowned. What kind of fashion is that? The look did not appeal to him at all. Evelyn opened her eyes and looked at Harvey in disbelief. "Haven't you worn such outfits before?" Harvey frowned with a shake of his head. "How is that possible?" Evelyn was startled, but then she felt it made sense. It was Harvey. Has no woman ever asked him to wear something he was not comfortable with? In that case, she was probably the first one in history. "Anyway, don't worry about it. Just wear it. I think it looks good." Evelyn took off her headband and tied up her hair with the simplest rubber band. The sunlight came in from outside and shone on her youthful and beautiful face. Evelyn, who was already quite young, did not have any qualms about the clothes. She blinked and said, "Do you want to try other clothes?" "I suddenly feel better," Harvey said, raising his eyebrows. Evelyn smiled, took out her phone and said, "Come on, take a photo to commemorate it." "Childish," Harvey snorted coldly. He ignored Evelyn and walked out after paying the bill. Evelyn squinted her eyes and gave herself a pat on the back. No matter what, she had gotten a photo of him. She thought the photo of her with the mighty CEO would fetch a huge payday if she was to sell it. "Harvey, wait for me!" Evelyn caught up with Harvey as her thoughts ran wild. 15 minutes later, the two of them stood in front of the special amusement park in the resort. Harvey looked at the huge Ferris wheel, the various roller coasters and pirate ships. He could hear waves of voices. Harvey walked outside the amusement park. He stopped Evelyn, who was about to walk inside, and said, "Why don't we go watch a musical? There's a show called Hamlet this morning. Let's talk about survival and destruction." Harvey tried to change her mind, but Evelyn did not want to watch a musical today. Evelyn pouted. "We agreed to come to the amusement park. You can't change your mind now." She was full of anticipation. Arcade games were something she wished to play. The merry-go-round, the teacup wheel, she wanted to ride them all. If she didn't have enough, she wouldn't go back. Harvey raised his head and looked at those things. In his heart, he wanted to say that this simply was not the date he had envisioned when planning this day. The people of his class, if they wanted to have exciting dates, would go bungee jumping or gliding. He had never come into contact with anything like this. He hated things beyond his control because there was no way to control the outcome. Evelyn was looking at him with longing in her eyes. He could only compromise once again. Harvey raised his hand and pulled Evelyn's hand. He pulled her towards the amusement park. "What do you want to play the most? I will listen to you." Since he was the first man to come here with Evelyn, he hoped that her memory of today would be one of her best. It was just a playground. He was Harvey, and there was nothing he could not conquer. Evelyn's eyes lit up. She pointed to the tracks that had so many turns and said excitedly, "Let's ride the snake eye first, and then the roller coaster." Harvey raised his head. The feeling of sitting on that thing was like racing. There shouldn't be any problem. "All right, I'll be kind and accompany you once." Half an hour later, the voices of the two people could be heard. "Harvey, don't be nervous." "I'm fine. Mind your own business." "Harvey, you're hurting me." "Shut up. I'm protecting you." "Harvey, my hand is going to swell up." "Shut up. I'm protecting you." Coming down from the snake's eyes, Evelyn looked at her hand with tearful eyes and begged, "Can you change your hand for another one? My hand has already been pinched purple by you. If you're scared, then scream it out. I will not laugh at you," Harvey said with a dark face. "Who said I was scared? I only held your hand because I was worried about the safety of this device." In his heart, Harvey was very unhappy with this ride. It was spinning at a high speed. This ride was much more vicious than bungee jumping. It was not what he thought it would be. Harvey did not want to expose his inability to enjoy this kind of thing. He did not want to show his cowardice in front of Evelyn. He said in a deep voice, "All right, this is not a great ride for safety reasons." No, he couldn't let Evelyn continue to lead him. He had to regain his control. However, Evelyn did not listen to him at all. She grabbed his arm and said excitedly, "Harvey, let's continue. The roller coaster, the roller coaster." Harvey frowned. "Why do you only pick these dangerous things to ride? It's not safe. There's a water park nearby. Let's go there and play." He could see her wearing a bikini, and he could also take the opportunity to do this and that on his laptop. It was a good idea. Harvey wanted to go to the water park and play. Evelyn blinked and said, "I want to ride a roller coaster." Harvey warned, "Just this one. You are not allowed to dictate the day anymore." Evelyn nodded. "All right, let's ride this last one." Evelyn's eyes turned and turned after they sat on the seat. She suddenly asked Harvey, "Have you seen Death is Here?" Harvey frowned. "I don't like horror movies." Evelyn excitedly grabbed his sleeve and said, "I was just thinking of the one scene in which the roller coaster malfunctioned and the people died after being flung through the air." Harvey's expression changed instantly. "Then why are you still riding this death trap?" Evelyn stuck out her tongue. "It's just a movie. I only came to ride because I saw how exciting it was in the movie. Let's go, let's go." When Harvey heard her tell the story, he felt it wasn't safe to continue. He didn't like this all-around spinning ride where his feet weren't on the ground. Although he didn't want to admit it, he had to agree that even though he was all-powerful in some areas of his life, there were things he wasn't good at. He wasn't able to enjoy this crappy ride, for one. It was truly a smart thing not to have come here when he was young. But it was already too late. When the two of them set off, the roller coaster turned slow to fast, and screams could be heard everywhere. Harvey's grip on Evelyn's hand was no longer effective. He felt he would suffer from internal injuries if he did not scream. However, Evelyn was still fanning the flames. We're gonna fall! Harvey, we're gonna fall! Harvey's face darkened. He wanted to throw this woman out of the seat. This wasn't a date. This was her messing with him. Evelyn got off the roller coaster and gazed at the people milling around. Harvey's handsomeness attracted everyone's attention. He put on the sun hat and looked like he was 17 instantly. Evelyn tilted her head and smiled. Evelyn had wanted to invite Timothy to the amusement park in the past, but she could not remember how she used to feel about him. She could not even remember what kind of smile Timothy had when he was 17. The past was so far away, but the current Harvey was so close to her. But was this closeness a mere illusion? Was it a mirage Evelyn was pulled towards because of her thirst for love? Harvey had promised Dolores to get engaged with the woman of her choice, but he couldn't let go of Evelyn. Dolores was a dangerous woman who shouldn't be meddled with. What complications awaited Harvey, and what disasters lurked in the shadows for Evelyn? Episode 66, Dreams and Fireworks. Harvey noticed Evelyn was looking at him intently. He looked at her warily. "Why are you looking at me? I told you not to ride." Evelyn rolled her eyes and hugged his arm. "The roller coaster! The roller coaster! Evelyn!" Evelyn's bell-like laughter could be heard when she forcefully held his hand. Harvey looked at her smiling face and raised his eyebrows. This was the only time he would do this because she looked radiantly happy. He kept her company for a while. He grabbed her hand and pulled her back with a cold snort. "I'm warning you, this is the last one. The last one." This woman had an alluring smile. She didn't have large breasts or long legs, but he still wanted to date her. After getting off the roller coaster, Harvey had reached his limit. From today on, he would never come to a place like this again. He hated all the rides, not because he was afraid of heights, but because he hated anything that rotated 360 degrees. Anything. He raised his tired eyes and twisted his thin lips. "Can we go now?" Evelyn looked at his face and burst into laughter. "So Harvey has something he isn't good at. I thought you were invincible." Harvey raised his brows. "I am indeed invincible. Didn't you research me? You should know me very well." Evelyn deliberately blinked and pretended to be naive. "Really? Even when I was a paparazzi, I was not the full-blooded professional that dug into all those details." Harvey snorted. "Liar. You don't even know how to lie. I am a legend in New York and beyond. You probably knew about me even when you were in school." Evelyn thought about it and remembered something funny. "I remember a little now that you said that. In the past, the school sold old student photos of you for a fundraiser once." "Really? Did you buy any?" "Your photo is too expensive. I didn't buy it. But my classmates bought your notes, so I read them." Harvey slowed down and stood in the same line as her. A warm smile appeared on his lips as he listened to her talk about when the two of them did not know each other. "Is that so? Did you learn anything after reading my notes?" The moment Evelyn's gaze landed on his face, her heart almost stopped. It was Evelyn's first time seeing his relaxed smile. Sunlight filtered through the branches and enveloped him. The usual coldness no longer existed. He seemed to relax with her, and his smile was very charming. Evelyn forgot about exposing her weakness and nodded stupidly. Oh, it was indeed helpful. "Liar." Harvey lowered his eyes. His smile was very charming. Evelyn muttered at the side. "Why did you say I lied again?" "I didn't make notes, so I know the school couldn't have sold any such thing. Those notes are all lies. How can they be useful?" "Aha, I also feel that it was fake," Evelyn said, lowering her head and blushing. It was not because her lie had been exposed, but his smile. It was nice to see him in such a refreshingly different manner. Holding hands with Harvey, Evelyn had a thought as she walked along the path lined with leaves. If they had met at 17, what would have happened to them? Every woman in New York had a Harvey in her heart. They longed for time with him, and Evelyn couldn't help wanting to go back in time. She wanted to go back to the time when Harvey went to school. She wanted to see Harvey in that setting. Harvey had been the top student by all accounts, the handsome and refined. Even if Harvey had not been the best at everything, his good looks would have won him friends and admirers. She could bet that if she met Harvey in school, she would have been those ignorant women willing to die for him. She would worship him as her Prince Charming. Thinking of this, it was a good thing that he was born at the wrong time. How could such a bad guy be a Prince Charming? If she had met the unattainable Harvey at that time, what would she have done to Timothy? She had been in love with Timothy back then, and even if she had brushed past Harvey on campus, she would have looked right past him, because at that time, Timothy was the best man in the world. She didn't know if that time was a good thing or not. If she had met Harvey at that time, she would have not fallen in love with him, and she could have avoided this disaster. But she would have fallen in love with Timothy anyway. Perhaps she could not escape the calamity of love and the curse of unrequited love. "We're here," Harvey said. His voice brought Evelyn back to her senses. Evelyn looked up and the corner of her mouth twitched. "You want me to change into a swimsuit?" "Of course. Why?" Harvey asked. Evelyn covered her eyes. "It's nothing. I just remembered something." Harvey was shocked at first, but he needed a swimsuit, so they headed inside a store. He held back his laughter and said, "Don't worry, we are dating now, so I will lend a hand should your suit malfunction in the water." Evelyn blushed and gnashed her teeth. "Don't mention that matter again." In the shop, Evelyn carefully tied the ribbon tightly in the fitting room before walking out. She wouldn't let go this time. If she let go this time, she would be so embarrassed she would never wear a bathing suit for the rest of her life. As soon as she walked out, she looked at Harvey with a smile. Evelyn tried her best to argue for herself. "I am thinking about whether this style is good for my body type." "Don't look at me like that." "I understand." Harvey nodded meaningfully. Evelyn stomped her feet in anger. Damn Harvey, he must be laughing at her inside. Of course. She turned around and walked out of the store, ignoring him. Harvey was paying anyway. Harvey walked behind Evelyn and narrowed his cold eyes. Evelyn was wearing a black swimsuit. It made Harvey's heart beat faster. He wanted to pull her to a place where no one was around, to do something too intimate for this public place. But he couldn't. He had to control himself, because there was something important tonight. After the water park, Harvey insisted on leaving to go watch a movie. They went to the movie after lunch and then to the art gallery. At dusk, the two of them returned to the hotel. 7 o'clock sharp. Let's have dinner together. Harvey put a bouquet of roses in her hands. Evelyn blinked and said, "If you want to talk, talk. Why are you giving me flowers?" Harvey blinked and said, "Can you not have fun anymore? I'm inviting a beautiful lady to dinner with me as a gentleman. Before I get angry, I want you to tell me it is an honor for you to meet me, and I want you to have a sweet smile on your face." Evelyn rolled her eyes as she realized he was still full of tricks. With a smile on her face, Evelyn used a voice that could make a person die of boredom and said, "Mr. Cage invited me. I am so honored. I will attend the appointment." Harvey felt the corner of his mouth twitch, but he ignored her and returned to his room. Evelyn also went back to her room with the flowers in her hands. The moment she went in, she saw a beautiful gift box in the room. This thing had appeared 3 times in the past 2 days. She was already used to it. It must be the clothes and shoes Harvey had selected for her dinner tonight. The clothes of rich people were luxurious. One should know that the clothes she wore these 2 days were not cheap. They might even be the first edition designed by Alex and had not been sold yet. Lying on the bed, Evelyn looked back at her time with Harvey from yesterday until today. They were not exclusively dating, but they were acting like lovers. They held hands, kissed, and had sex. What were she and Harvey? It was impossible for 2 people who loved each other to continue as they were. They could not be considered friends or strangers. Flipping over, Evelyn softly muttered, "Perhaps I am slightly interesting." She wanted to hide her thoughts for the time being and live these moments with Harvey to the fullest. She wanted to stay with Harvey a little longer and fall for him more. She didn't beg for anything anyway, though she could be willful when she wanted. Evelyn got up and changed her clothes after resting on the bed until 6 o'clock. Evelyn put on the white dress Harvey had selected. The tassels on the ground looked like snow. At 6:50 p.m., Evelyn followed the waiter to the revolving restaurant on the top floor. Evelyn saw Harvey sitting by the window in the dim-lit restaurant decorated with roses. He was dressed in a black suit with a wine-red shirt. He looked charming and handsome. Evelyn could not help but blush. Seeing her come up, Harvey's gaze fell on her, and he was stunned for a few seconds. He was completely amazed by Evelyn. Her eyes were pure and moving, sparkling like stars. Her cherry lips were plump and delicious-looking. Her delicate face was perfect, and her long hair fluttered in the wind. Her petite body, coupled with her soft white dress, looked perfect. He thought it would look good on her, but he didn't expect her to look that stunning. It was as if a pair of white angel wings were about to spread out behind her in the next second. Evelyn had already walked in front of him, and Harvey finally calmed down. His eyes were deep and thin, and his lips curled up. It looks indeed exquisite on you, as I suspected it would be. Evelyn blushed. Harvey pulled her seat out and Evelyn sat down. The two of them savored the delicious food. Would you like some red wine? Harvey asked. Evelyn kept her distance and said, no need. She didn't want to touch this damn liquid for the rest of her life. Harvey raised his brows. She was easy to read. Then eat more. Do the dishes suit your taste? Evelyn nodded. This type of food made in restaurants was all scrumptious. How could it not satisfy one's appetite? Evelyn worked for a very high-class restaurant and knew the table manners needed to be just right. Otherwise, she would be too embarrassed to sit here and eat with Harvey. After dinner, Harvey suggested going out for a walk. Evelyn did not have any objections and followed him. When the two of them walked out, Evelyn heard the waiter talking. Hey, there's a fireworks display this evening. It's a pity that the southern lawn is completely covered up. I can't go there to look. Is it someone's daughter celebrating her birthday? It's such a big deal. I don't know. I have no idea, but it is over the top for someone's special occasion. Who could afford such a showing? She liked fireworks a lot and looked forward to the display. She used to think about being with a man who would confess his love as fireworks filled the sky. It was very romantic. In the past, she fantasized about Timothy confessing feelings for her amidst the fireworks and saying, Evelyn, I like you. Then she would come up and kiss him and hold his hand. Oh, she was indeed very young. Evelyn couldn't help but find it funny when she thought about it. How shameful. Do you like it? Harvey suddenly pulled her hand and asked. Of course I do. Anyone would like such a beauty. Harvey raised his eyebrows. Then let's go see the fireworks. Evelyn was about to say that someone had already claimed the best place, but she frowned slightly when she raised her head and saw Harvey's proud face. Wait a minute. In terms of money, no one in New York was richer than Harvey. A bad feeling rose in her heart. Evelyn kept denying the gut feeling. She felt like she was overthinking everything. It was a waste to reserve the entire venue. This guy wouldn't do that, right? Harvey said nothing. He pulled her and said, Follow me. As they walked out of the restaurant, the night wind blew. After walking through some gardens and courtyards, Harvey pulled her around and finally stopped. We're here. Evelyn was surprised and almost hit his back. Evelyn's eyes fell on the grass in front of her. The grass was full of chrysanthemums, and the dancing fireflies made Evelyn cover her mouth. So beautiful. So breathtakingly wonderful. What are you doing? Evelyn muttered. You booked this place. It's such a waste. Can't you say something nice at a time like this? Do you like it? It took me a lot of effort. Harvey raised his eyebrows and held her hand. He walked to the center of the grass step by step. Evelyn raised her head to look at him with clear eyes. What are you trying so hard for? Can't you see that? I want to make you happy. I won't consider it a waste of my time and effort as long as you like it. Everything, including this firework display, I did for you alone. Evelyn looked up and saw huge fireworks in the sky. Even if she were to marry one day, no one would ever do something like this for her again. The fireworks made the night sky incomparably bright. However, when Evelyn's gaze fell on the man beside her, she suddenly felt that despite the fireworks, he was the most eye-catching thing around, as no one could ignore him. He was like the sun, shining brightly even at night. He came over to her with the curtain of stars and fireworks fading behind him, looking as if he walked out of the flowing light and was so handsome he stole the breath from her body. Her heart began to race, and she thought again of her teenage dreams. He would lean over and say, I like you, and she'd hold his hand and kiss him. Harvey came closer, and Evelyn's heart was beating even faster. Even though she knew that the possibility of this happening was small, she still held high hopes for this moment. What was about to happen? Was her teenage dream about to turn into reality? Would Harvey finally confess his feelings to Evelyn? Episode 67, Confessions and Rejections. Harvey liked someone who was so crazy. He hoped that Evelyn would feel the same as he did. Evelyn, I want you. I want to live every day like today, trying to make you happy. I want you to be with me in every sense of the word. When the fireworks are over, tell me your answer, Harvey said. His deep voice was very charming. Evelyn's pupils contracted. She took a step back and looked up at the fireworks. It was so beautiful. The fireworks were so breathtaking. But why was her vision blurry and she couldn't see anything? She was indeed stupid to have unrealistic dreams like a child. She continued to pick the wrong men to fall for. Why can't she learn from those mistakes? Her heart was in so much pain that Evelyn had to lift her head with all her might to stop the tears from flowing out of her eyes. She had to comfort herself repeatedly to be sure Harvey didn't see her pained expression. Perhaps she was born a moth to the flame and would fly into it and be consumed. The fireworks continued to explode for more than half an hour. From the rumbling of the fireworks to the silence that followed, Evelyn did not say a word and just watched. Harvey said nothing and just watched by her side. When the fireworks ended, the surroundings became silent. Only the sounds of insects and the occasional bird could be heard. Evelyn took a deep breath and sighed. What a beautiful evening. Harvey stood beside her and smiled. Did you like it? Evelyn nodded. Yes, I liked it. I liked it very, very much. It must have been rewarding for the other women he's dated to be with someone who cared to prepare dates. What about your answer? If you choose to be with me, I'll make every day the best day possible for you. You can go anywhere you want in the world if you want to. You can have this kind of fun every day, be it fireworks or shopping. Harvey looked at her, his dark eyes focused on her fully. No woman would be luckier than her because Evelyn was the only one. He was prepared to offer her anything to keep her by his side. Evelyn, you came to me as a blessing. Evelyn lowered her head and ran a hand through her hair. Her fingers hurt a little and were burning. Other than you, no one else has ever gone to such great lengths for me. I'm flattered. Harvey curled his lips and said in a tone close to indulgence, in the future, I will let you enjoy this kind of pampering every day. Evelyn used all her strength to breathe, to not choke up. She opened her mouth and said, no, this kind of treatment is enough once in a lifetime. Harvey reached out and grabbed her hand. He promised, of course not. If I want to, I will give you this every day. Harvey felt uneasy. He felt like everything was not going as he had expected. Harvey, I think it is because I have been dragging things out that things have become so complicated. Let's talk about it now. You and I will stop here. You are still the CEO of the Cage Group, and I am just a waitress. None of us should interpret each other's lives anymore. Evelyn looked up at Harvey's handsome face and said the words to him. It was time for her to turn to foam. Harvey, I don't feel angry at all. I know you're always going to be you, and I just had to speak my truth. I know you're not looking down on me or trying to trample on my pride. You want to have me. You're sincere, but your sincerity doesn't seem enough to me. You've given me things, but you don't know me truly. I want us to be equal in this relationship. You don't understand the mountain of stuff you've gifted me. It's romantic and beautiful, but it's nothing compared to what I truly want. You can give me more than 1,000,000 treasures in this world, but all I can give you is a heart that loves you. And all I want is a heart that loves me. I know better than anyone whether or not you love me. So that's it. Harvey's pupils contracted. He did not understand why she would reject him like this. He tightened his grip on her wrist. I don't want to end here at all. What are you dissatisfied with? Whatever you want, I will give it to you as long as you name your price. I don't want it. I want nothing you can give me. Evelyn looked at him stubbornly and seriously. She forcefully shook off his arm. I want you to like me. I want your love. Did you give that to me? Harvey did not expect Evelyn to be so stubborn. He could not help but burn with anger. He gritted his teeth and looked at her. Evelyn, I could have any woman I want. They would fall at my feet for the offer I just gave you. Why not accept what I have to offer? Harvey's devotion was the dream of so many women the world over. Even if he stood there aloof, women would fall at his feet trying to please him. He had given Evelyn things 10 or even 100 times more than those women would ask of him. This was the first time he had arranged a firework display for a woman. Usually he would not even bother to buy flowers. Evelyn, this damn woman, had no right to be so arrogant. She was still rejecting him even now after all he had done for her. Harvey could not help but think that Cindy had said Evelyn would not agree to his request that day they met. She said it was because Evelyn still believed in love. Love. That kind of thing was simply an illusion. If she didn't want to be his woman, whose woman did she want to be? Could it be Timothy's woman? She took a deep breath and frowned at Harvey. I am not a woman who knows how to be this fancy showpiece on your arm, nor will I please you. Why are you so conflicted? Like you said, you can have any woman. You can't afford what I want. Harvey looked down at her and said, I never said I wanted you to please me. I just wanted you to stay by my side like you did today. Are you rejecting me because you still have that man in your heart? Is that why you're not willing to accept me? Evelyn was stunned. Harvey thought that Evelyn still held Timothy in her heart. She wanted to say who was in her heart, but she decided against it. She did not want to have anything to do with Harvey. She did not want to have anything to do with Timothy. Evelyn felt like running away when she faced Harvey, but was unwilling to let her go. Escaping was shameful, but sometimes it worked. She could not face an aggressive Harvey, as she knew how that might turn out, so she would just listen to him. Yes, I beg you to let me go. I will never forget you. So please show mercy and let this be the end of our time together. She's going out of control. She didn't want to show any sad expressions before this guy, so she trained her face to indifference. I don't want much. I just want someone to love, and love me equally in return. That's all. Why do I always have to encounter such things? Evelyn turned around and wanted to leave, but the high-heeled shoes made it difficult for her to walk away quickly. When she walked, it was Harvey who supported her. He was so kind, he did not make her feel uncomfortable at all. Evelyn's heart twitched again. She took a deep breath, kicked off the bejeweled shoes from her feet, and left barefoot. Right now, she only wanted to run away from Harvey. Ill-fitting crystal shoes were stopping her, so she just kicked them off. Harvey clenched his fist and angrily watched her walk step by step. He clenched his fists and cursed her for not knowing what was good for her. If he ran up to the woman to offer help, she wouldn't appreciate the kindness. It wasn't too cold at night, so it didn't matter if she walked barefoot. Harvey kept telling himself this in his heart, but his gaze lingered on Evelyn's thin body on her bare feet. Bad luck. Harvey cursed in a low voice. He strode towards Evelyn. Evelyn had just walked out of the lawn covered with night dew. There was some moisture under her feet, and when she slipped on the cold marble surface, she immediately felt a chill wash over her body, and she feared she might fall. Immediately following that, a powerful force swept her up with a hand under her waist. Evelyn was startled and then struggled in his arms. Put me down! Harvey hugged her with a cold expression on his face. He lowered his head and warned her, Shut up. I only hugged you, but I have self-restraint. Don't think that I'm going to do anything to you. Also, I don't know how to be magnanimous. That's not my style. Evelyn bit her lips angrily. I don't need you to care about me. I don't want to have anything to do with you. If you hear me clearly, let me go. Otherwise, I will keep struggling. When dealing with a woman like you, one needs to use an uncultured method to deal with. With a sneer, Harvey suddenly flung Evelyn up and over his shoulder. Evelyn's small body floated in the air as if she was weightless. Ah! Evelyn cried out in alarm. She was already being carried on Harvey's shoulder without the ability to control where he took her. This was not the first time. Evelyn was embarrassed and angry. She angrily hit his back. Put me down! Let me go! Harvey completely ignored her. After receiving strange gazes along the way, Evelyn was finally brought to the room's door. Harvey put Evelyn down and held the door with one arm. He leaned over and asked her, Evelyn, let me tell you, I yearn for revenge. If you insist on not agreeing to my terms of our arrangement, the consequences will be very severe. Evelyn lowered her head and did not dare to look at his cold eyes. She said in a muffled voice, I am not afraid. I will not agree. Turning around, Evelyn opened the door and entered the room. As the door closed, Harvey stood outside with a heavy expression. After a while, he turned and returned to his room. Harvey didn't understand. Evelyn had argued with the old woman for him. Obviously, she would fight hard for his sake, but why? Why doesn't she want to stay with him? Why doesn't she want to be his lover? Was it really because of Timothy? Harvey sat on the sofa. He crossed his hands and said, "Evelyn, you forced me to do this." Harvey wanted a woman for the first time. There was nothing in this world that he could not get with a flick of his wrist. Evelyn was no exception. If his invitation didn't work, he'd have to resort to other means. Anyway, there was no such thing as letting go. Evelyn was slumped against the wall in front of the door. She hugged her shoulders and buried her face in her knees. Like a broken woman, she tasted pain again. She wanted to be stronger, but she couldn't. The feeling of being hurt, but still unable to get rid of it, was called love. Her love had always led her to agony. Would there be an end to this pain? Harvey had never been turned down like this. He was a man who wasn't used to hearing no as an answer. How would he take this rejection? Was it so easy to get rid of Harvey Cage? What ploys did he have up his sleeve to win over Evelyn? Or would he take this as a humiliation and make Evelyn's life miserable? Episode 68, Timothy's Illness. While Evelyn sat there heartbroken, her phone rang. Evelyn saw it was Cindy. She closed her eyes and turned off the phone. "I'm sorry, Cindy. I'm sorry." "Pick up the phone! Pick up the phone! Why? Why didn't you pick up the phone? Why?" Cindy held her phone tightly with a pale face outside the hospital ward. If it kept going to voicemail, that meant she would have turned off the phone. Cindy closed her eyes in despair. The call did not get through in the end. "Your brother is awake. He has been examined. Let's go in and see him." Dr. Jeff Larson walked out and saw Cindy's pale face. Cindy looked at him and her breathing became a little rough. "Jeff, what kind of illness does my brother have? Can you tell me?" Jeff sighed and rubbed her hair. "Let Timothy tell you the details. It's time for you to know everything." Cindy walked to the ward's door and opened it to peek inside. She stood outside the door and looked at Timothy sitting on the bed. Cindy was silent and did not dare to walk in. Timothy turned his head in her direction. His brown eyes gazed at her sleepily. "Come in. I won't bite, and we need to talk." Cindy's entire body felt heavy. She went in and closed the door. Jeff looked at the door and exhaled. He put his hands in his white coat and walked away. "Timothy, we don't have much time left. We need to make some hard decisions," he thought. Cindy walked to Timothy's bed and lowered her head to his lap. She pursed her lips so that she wouldn't cry. Timothy was still smiling. His voice was soft. "Sit down. It's a long story." Timothy sighed in his heart. He had never thought that he would faint in front of her. He must have scared her to death. His body had already reached its limit. Cindy nodded and sat down, not daring to look at him. She was afraid that she would cry the moment she saw him. "What are you sick with?" Cindy asked. "I have a heart arrhythmia." "When did it start?" Cindy asked, trembling. She clenched her fist to keep herself calm. Timothy opened his thin lips and calmly explained. "Do you remember the summer of your sophomore year? I suddenly went to the hospital for a week to control my illness." Cindy opened her eyes wide and looked up at him. It happened so early, and she did not know about it. Timothy looked at her and nodded. "That's right. When I returned from my stay, I knew I would not live a long life, and made peace with it." Cindy covered her mouth, and tears fell from her eyes. She breathed heavily and felt that her heart was in extreme pain, but she did not dare to make a sound. Timothy's voice was quiet and gentle. "I thought my condition was indeed under control. However, the doctor also said that I could only hold on for another 5 or 6 years. Cardiovascular surgery can be done, but it is too risky. Until we are truly out of options, it is just too big a risk factor." "Why didn't you tell me? I'm your sister. Why didn't you tell me about this?" Cindy didn't want to cry. Why didn't anyone tell her? Her parents didn't tell her, and neither did her brother. Why was she the only one who didn't know about this? Timothy reached out and stroked her hair. "I'm sorry, Cindy. I'm sorry. I begged our parents not to tell you about this. I did it so that you wouldn't feel sad for me, and Evelyn wouldn't know. I'm a selfish person. To protect the person I love, I even hid it from my sister. I'm sorry. I'm not a good brother." Cindy's face was flooded with tears. She grabbed his hand and muttered sadly, "Brother, you like Evelyn, right? You love her, don't you?" Timothy nodded and smiled gently. "Yes, I fell in love with her the moment we met. She is so amazing. How could I not love her? I protected her and wanted to give her the world, but I could not love her. Being by my side would only make her suffer. Cindy shook her head as she took his hand and firmly said, Timothy, it shouldn't be like this. You and Evelyn shouldn't be like this. Tell her that you did this all because of your illness. I won't tell her, Timothy said with a sigh. I can't give her the love she deserves. She will die a little with me if she's tied to my side. How can I let someone I love be afraid for me and then suffer the pain of losing me? Cindy, she is a delicate girl. She will sacrifice herself for love, but she can't bear the pain of parting. I want her to be happy, so I can love her the way I can without knowledge of my illness. I don't want her to know about it. Cindy leaned into his embrace and cried while trembling. But this is unfair. Why is life like this? Evelyn likes you and you love her. Why did the ending turn out like this? It is not too late now. There is still time. Timothy hugged her and caressed her back as he comforted her in a low voice. Don't cry. This is something that can't be helped. You know it is already too late. He knew it was too late. Her heart had already been pulled away from him. When he first saw her, he felt like she was a butterfly that fluttered around him. At that moment, she was a beautiful butterfly that spread her wings and flew away. That was the first time he held her hand, the first time he kissed her, the first time he hugged her close. Everything he wanted to give her would be fulfilled by someone else. It was already too late for him and Evelyn. Their love story that had never truly started would end in silence. She might not discover it for the rest of her life. Perhaps, many years later, Evelyn would think of Timothy and would still say, that man, I once bravely chased after him. Unfortunately, he did not love me. That was a lie. I loved you from the very beginning. As long as I know you're happy, this love will be firmly imprinted in my mind. I will always remember her, the girl who was so brave and selfless in her pursuit of me. Cindy did not sleep that night. Timothy did not want her to say anything to Evelyn. His insistence made it impossible for her to reject him. She hoped that her good friend would be happy and her brother would be content with that outcome. But she did not understand why the heavens were so cruel. Her brother was unhappy, and her innocent and brave friend was probably not happy either. Evelyn tossed and turned in the hotel and could not sleep for the entire night. She left when it was dawn. After he woke up in the morning, Harvey slipped from his bed and went to wash up. Zach arrived at his door shortly after that to report that Evelyn had left. These are the things she left behind. They are all here, Zach said, putting everything Evelyn had left behind and laid it all out in front of Harvey. Harvey rummaged through the box in front of him. She had left her clothes, shoes, and even the necklace behind. It was indeed something she would do. She refused to take anything. Harvey looked at those things and asked Zach, "What do you think I should do from here?" How about letting her go, just like that? Evelyn was not the only woman in the world. He could have as many women as he wanted. Of course, it is good to respect her decision, Zach said, pushing his glasses. If that is the case, you will save yourself a lot of trouble. You don't need to keep trying to impress a woman. You, of course, will make your own decisions easily, but this also eliminates further conflict with your grandmother. Harvey narrowed his weary eyes. That's true. Zach smiled. Indeed. Harvey threw the lid of the gift box to the side and sneered. But my life has never been easy. Evelyn is who I want. Zach, go back and send these things to her house. Yes, sir. Zach nodded. He was not surprised by the answer. He did not know how valuable Evelyn's existence was to his boss. The only thing he knew was that he would never let go of what he wanted easily. But women are easily compromised. Why would the CEO put so much effort into Evelyn, only to have her stay so stubborn? Why? Raquel still did not give up on him, even though 5 years had passed. She had clearly said that it was impossible. Women should not be underestimated. It was best not to belittle their love. However, I have never underestimated Raquel, nor have I underestimated Raquel's love. Unlike Harvey, I am a normal person with flesh and blood, and I hope Raquel will give up on me soon. The phone vibrated. He took out his phone and opened the just-received text message. Raquel's sexy pajama picture made Zach take a deep breath and close his eyes. Raquel, we can't. It's a great honor for a lady like you to like me, but I'm not good enough for someone of your stature. After they got into the car, Harvey raised his eyebrows and said, Text? It's from Raquel, right? Yes. Are you not trying to text her? Harvey asked meaningfully. Zach shook his head. No need to reply. Zach, I don't understand you. I have been with you for so long and know everything about you. You are a player and can handle a she-devil like Raquel. The only woman who has messed up your sense of priority for so many years is her. Why are you so stubborn and not willing to submit to her? In the end, you are different from me. You want to get married and have children. Harvey crossed his legs and leaned lazily on the seat behind him. Zach sat straight and said, Raquel and I have no chance. You know Raquel's father always wanted her to marry someone with actual status. If you believe you can make her happy, I'm completely on your side. I'll talk to my uncle, said Harvey. Zach pushed his glasses up and smiled. Do you want me to be a useless assistant in your family tree? You know that is not acceptable. You're too old-fashioned, Harvey snorted coldly. Zach said nothing. He was old-fashioned and stubborn, but he probably wouldn't understand the CEO's position. Love, with a vast difference in status, wouldn't have a good ending. Even if Raquel's father did not care about his status, he would not accept it. In Raquel's father's eyes, he was still a hateful fellow who abducted a 14-year-old girl so he could be with Raquel. The car started and drove towards the Cage's mansion. Harvey closed his eyes and stopped talking to Zach. Both of them were worried about their women. In the morning, Evelyn walked into the house exhausted. As soon as she entered the space, the fragrance of food wafted out. Evelyn was startled. She walked in and saw Mark blinking his eyes. It didn't make sense. It was Monday. Why was Mark at home? Why didn't he go to his classes? Did he somehow suspect Evelyn had spent her time at the resort with someone? And who exactly was Zach? Was he just an assistant, or was this role of the assistant a mere facade to hide his real identity? Episode 69, The Closed Door. Surprised by Mark's presence in the house, Evelyn asked, Mark, didn't you go to your classes today? When Mark saw her, he immediately revealed a bright smile. He walked forward and hugged her. Welcome home. How was it? Did you have a good time with these 2 days? Did you miss me? You haven't eaten breakfast yet, right? Come, let's eat together. Evelyn was stunned by his hug. Her bag was also taken, and she was pushed into a chair. After thinking about it for a while, she asked again. Are you going to rest today? Evelyn asked. Mark nodded. No, we finished the competition yesterday. There was nothing else to do, so we returned, and I took today off. Evelyn nodded and lowered her head to eat the plate of food he handed over. After eating a few mouthfuls, Evelyn said, Today you're wearing jeans. Mark froze for a moment. Yeah, I haven't worn my jeans in a long time. I just thought I would change things up and put them on. Evelyn stopped and placed her utensils on the table. She looked at Mark and said, Take off your pants. Did you get hurt in the competition yesterday? It's hot now, and you never wear anything so heavy in the house. Show me where your injuries are. Mark tried to avoid her at the table, but Evelyn grabbed at him. This was not the first time this had happened. This brother of hers was normally so careful, but he was still a basketball player, so it was inevitable that he would be injured. When he was injured in the past, he tried many ways to avoid letting her know, so Evelyn now had a detective sense for his wounds. Mark did not expect to be exposed so soon. He blurted out, Calm down. I only have a minor injury. Promise me you will calm down before I show you. Evelyn came around to him and grabbed his belt. Mark's eyes were wide open and his face was burning. Not good. His blood was boiling. Mark quickly held Evelyn's hand and said, I will show you. You calm down first and let go of my belt. Evelyn did not let go and warned, Go to the sofa. Mark nodded and was pulled onto the sofa by her. The temperature on his handsome face kept rising, making Mark feel extremely awkward. The wound was on the inside of his thigh above the knee. How could he show it to her? Evelyn just had to stare at him with her arms crossed, as if she would not let go if he did not show it to her. Mark's breathing was a little rough. He raised his head with difficulty and said with some pity, At least turn around and let me take off my clothes in peace. Can I do that? Evelyn rolled her eyes. At this moment, she knew he was embarrassed. Usually, she did not see him restrain himself, but she still turned around. Mark slowly took off his pants. Are you done? Mark was now laying on the couch behind her, depressed at the direction this was going. It was too embarrassing to take off his pants and show her where he was hurt. Evelyn completely treated him as a child with no restrictions. Mark hated this younger brother's identity at this moment. It was all because of this damned identity that he had no choice but to endure this torment. "Mark, are you done?" Evelyn urged him again when he was halfway through taking off his pants. Mark's brows were tightly knitted together, and his flushed face felt so hot. He closed his eyes and grabbed the sofa blanket to cover his body. Mark bared his teeth. "All right." Evelyn heard him and turned around. She immediately sat next to Mark and leaned over to look at his leg. There were a few bandages wrapped around the injury. Evelyn frowned. "It is still wrapped with gauze. Is it very serious? What kind of injury is it?" Mark looked away awkwardly and said, "I bumped into a pillar and had my leg cut open. I was afraid it would get infected, so I had it bandaged." In reality, someone had ambushed him. When he kicked his opponent's head, he had been stabbed by a knife. It was all his fault that he had to make a move personally. If he had stood still, he would not have been in such a predicament. Evelyn lowered her head and moved closer to the gauze. Her slender hand touched his skin. "Is there no problem? Do you want to check if it hurts around here?" Her soft fingers touched the inside of his sensitive thigh. Mark's heart was beating faster by the minute. He smelled the fragrance of her body in the air. It was sweet and alluring, which he thought should be a crime to smell so good. Mark unconsciously relished the scent, and his throat went dry. His blood began to boil and rush down to his lower body. Evelyn was unguarded in her line of sight as she bent over to examine the gauze. Her collar unconsciously opened wide, revealing her collarbone and visible cleavage. Her neck was so white that it made people want to put teeth marks on it. I want to bite and chew and taste. I want to push against her weak body and push her under me. I want to pull her away from that oversized t-shirt. "Mark! Mark, are you listening to me? Mark!" Evelyn called him a few times, but he did not respond. When she looked up, she saw Mark's handsome face close to her. Evelyn blinked her eyes, raised her hand, and flicked his forehead. "Ah, that hurts!" Mark instantly came back to his senses. Evelyn rolled her eyes. "Who told you not to listen to me? This leg of yours. Do you want to go to the hospital to see if it hurt your tendons?" "No need, it's just a scratch. It's okay." Mark's heart was still beating quickly. While Evelyn was unaware, Mark covered his important parts with the blanket. He was so shocked that he almost lost control of himself. He must have gone mad. That was why he almost lost his mind just now. If Evelyn had not pulled his rational mind back to reality, perhaps he would have taken advantage of this situation and pressed her under him, doing things that a brother and sister would not do. "Damn it, Mark, you idiot, wake up! If you go crazy now, everything will be ruined." Mark cursed himself repeatedly, but the heat in his body did not retreat. The fragrance still lingered on the tip of his nose, even though Evelyn had already stood up and left his side. "Looks like you're fine. Then hurry and put your clothes on and come over for food. Don't hide anything from me again next time, understand? Otherwise, I will torment you further." Evelyn was sure that he was fine and let out a sigh of relief. The heat in Mark's body would not subside, and he stood up with his lips pinched into a thin line. Mark did not look at Evelyn and said, "I suddenly remembered Ray asked me to go to his house. I will go out and come back later." After Mark said that, he put on his pants and walked out. When Evelyn saw him leave, she called him from behind, "At least eat breakfast first." The door slammed. After Mark walked out of the door, he went straight to a bar. After entering, he passed through a quiet hall and arrived at a private room. It looked like the meeting was about to end. Ray came out from the crowd of women and looked at Mark, dumbfounded. "Why are you here?" No one here knew Mark's true identity. The women were excited when they saw the handsome Mark and came forward to flirt with him. "Is he your friend? He is so handsome. Do you want to play with me?" Ray waved his hand. "Stop messing around. He doesn't play with women like you. He came to find me," he told the women. He turned to Mark. "Is something wrong? My phone shouldn't have been switched off." Mark looked around at the women gathered. He grabbed a good-looking one and pulled her to his side. He said to Ray blandly, "I'm not looking for you. I'm just looking for a woman. And this one will do just fine. I'll leave the rest to you." After saying that, Mark left with the woman. Ray felt like his jaw hit the ground. No way! No way! Mark was looking for a woman? It's over. Is the sky going to fall and the world end? Mark brought the woman to the presidential suite of the nearest hotel. For a woman to sleep with such a handsome man and in such a suite, she thought she won the lottery. Once she entered, she couldn't wait to have sex with Mark. She wanted to kiss him. However, Mark pushed her away and said coldly, "You won't be short of money.
But you must never speak of this. Don't do anything unnecessary, and then we will be done.
But it would be better if you just gave me directions and I will be your willing servant.
Don't make me say it again, Mark said coldly and sat down on the sofa. The woman felt that this handsome man was not to be trifled with. He was wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans and looked like he was still in college, but she could not disobey him. She lowered her head and walked over. The woman had no choice but to kneel between Mark's legs and use her mouth. Mark closed his eyes the whole time without making a single sound. Evelyn was on his mind. He hated himself and thought about her at the same time. After having his needs met, Mark sent the woman away and leaned on the sofa. He looked out of the window and raised the corner of his lips sadly. Evelyn, I am already a man. I would think that you would do this kind of thing. As an elder sister, if you knew about it, you would find it very scary and disgusting. When will the time be right for me to tell you everything? How long do I have to continue playing this identity? Recently, I feel more and more that I am going crazy. My body and heart are also becoming more desperate for you. What am I to do? Ray walked into the hotel room and handed him a cigarette. Have a smoke. I feel like something is wrong with you. Is it because of what happened in the group recently? Mark took the cigarette and lit it up. He didn't smoke much because Evelyn hated the smell of cigarettes. He only smoked when he was troubled. They walked outside and Mark leaned against a lamppost. He blew out a smoke ring and said, "It's more annoying than the organization." "About a woman?" Ray smiled. Mark looked at him. "You always hit the nail on the head." Ray shrugged. "As a man, only women are enough to bother you apart from status, power, and money. You don't have to worry about anything else except women." "What happened to your sister?" Ray asked again. This time, Mark was startled. He frowned and said, "How'd you know it was my sister?" Ray was speechless. "Boss, it's not your sister's fault that you have extreme behavior or are not happy. I'm not blind and I'm not stupid. It's obvious when you think about her, things change in you, as you are so protective." Mark continued smoking and smiled bitterly. Was he so obvious? Even he did not know. However, it was better not to mention this matter. Ray didn't know about the matter between him and Evelyn. If he did, he would probably think that it was incest. "Ray, have you heard the story of Bluebeard?" Mark asked. Ray shrugged. "No, I don't listen to fairy tales. What are they about?" Mark put out the cigarette and said, "A man is very rich, but his wife is very odd. She disappeared one day. He soon married another family's youngest daughter. The younger daughter married this man and lived a good life. One day, when this man was going out, he gave his new wife many keys and told her not to open the door to a locked room high in their house. She could open the other doors. The wife opened the other doors and found gold and silver inside. Curious, she opened the last door. The previous wives were nailed to the walls inside. They were all killed because they opened the door out of curiosity." "What happened after that?" Ray asked with interest. "Let me guess, the younger daughter killed Bluebeard. It was a happy ending." Mark smiled. "Yes. What's the point of telling this story? I want to ask you a question. Bluebeard is very good to this little girl and gave her everything. He only asked her not to open this door. If it were you, would you open that door?" Ray thought and said, "If it were me, I would open it." "Why? Isn't it better if you don't open it?" Ray nodded with a smile. "Yes, but I think I would open that door because that is something I need to know." Mark lowered his head. His eyes were filled with sadness. "Is that so? So that's how it is. So she will as well. Open it." Ray looked at him strangely. "What do you want to know? What are you talking about? Why can't I understand your ramblings today?" Mark shook his head. "It's fine. Take me home." Ray did not know what was going on, so he drove him home. Mark kept his eyes closed in the car. He decided that even after his graduation from school, he would tell her nothing. He would make up another dream that would reduce damage to the minimum, a dream that would make her most likely to accept herself. Since he had already lied, he did not mind making up other lies. However, after hearing Ray's words, he felt it would not work. The truth could not be hidden forever. One day she would find out, because that was something she had to know. She might open the door by herself at some point. All he could do now was hope that the key to that door would never appear. With him guarding her, the key would not appear. Mark prayed in his heart that he could control things to his liking, but some things would always come when it was time, no matter how much you tried to prevent it. What was hidden behind that forbidden closed door that Mark didn't want Evelyn to find out? To what extent was he willing to go to keep the reality hidden from Evelyn? What was the reality? Episode 70, Harvey's New Date. On the other side of the city, Luke was bowing low to 2 tombstones in a cemetery. "Uncle, Auntie, I've come to see you. It's such wonderful weather today. Speaking of which, I'm here again. You guys must be a little troubled. I'm a person you don't even know. I'm sorry for bothering you all the time, but it's still the same. I have some ties with your daughter. Although it was a long time ago, it's all thanks to her that I have the current position I do. I met her again a while ago. She's doing well and lives with her brother. She likely remembers nothing, but I think that's good. Uncle, Auntie, you don't want her to remember those sad things." Luke smiled and said, "When I met her by chance, I did not recognize her. I only later made the connection. I did not expect to see her again, but I am thrilled I ran into her. Whenever she is sad, I comfort her as a friend. She's no longer so clumsy and timid. When I come next time, I will bring you more news about her." Luke gave a slight nod and turned to walk back. His car was parked outside. The assistant pushed his glasses and looked at his watch. "Rarely do you ever waste time." Luke smiled. "Really? I'm sorry. Tell the driver to hurry to make up for lost time." "Please, don't give us unnecessary burdens," the secretary said coldly as she opened the car door for him. Luke sat in the car with a smile. He cared little about the secretary's attitude. Suddenly, Luke thought of the time when he first met Evelyn. If he were still that person, this mean secretary of his would probably have been beaten black and blue. After Evelyn returned home, she sorted out her thoughts before calling Cindy back. After the call connected, Evelyn hurriedly said to Cindy, "Cindy, I'm sorry. Last night something happened to me, so I didn't pick up your call. Is there anything you need from me?" Cindy's voice was low, and she did not intend to blame Evelyn. Instead, she said, "Nothing much. I just want to talk about the ticket to the resort. I'm sorry. Harvey suddenly came to find me, and it's fine. I don't care about that. You and Harvey, how is it going? If everything goes well, we probably won't have anything to do with each other anymore," Evelyn said slowly. Cindy was silent there for a while. Evelyn also said nothing. She simply was not in the mood for small talk. "Evelyn, you will be happy," Cindy said after a while. Evelyn lightly laughed and said warmly, "I think so too." Cindy hung up the phone and closed the curtains. "Just as I thought. She and Harvey didn't end up well," Cindy said. Timothy flipped a page on the bed and smiled gently. "Even if you say so, I won't go to her. I can't comfort her or change anything. I knew this day would come. If it weren't Harvey, there would be someone else." Cindy bit her lower lip and whispered, "Stubborn." Timothy said nothing. He just smiled and held the book, Remembrance of Lost Time. He liked this book because it was the book in the movie Love Letters. Timothy liked the phrase, "Let my tears flow for a love that I've lost, and maybe they might be with them. Take away the feeling of loss to pave way for a brighter day." It was just like the love buried in the love letter. If she were lucky enough to find something like that, everything would be as calm as water in the next few decades. She would regret nothing. She would also faintly reminisce. Well, that's good enough. Cindy looked at her brother, still smiling, and her heart ached as she admired him. He was indeed amazing. He was so powerful that he could endure loneliness and pain for the sake of the person he loved. Evelyn hung up the phone and looked at the time, realizing she needed to head to work. Mark took an afternoon nap before heading out again. Evelyn turned around to look at him. "You are still injured. Why aren't you resting? Do you want some ice cream?" Mark hugged her from behind the sofa. "Sister, I have to go back to school tonight. I can't stay with you anymore." Evelyn lovingly rubbed his hair. "Silly. I'm not a child. I don't need anyone to accompany me. Go pack up and remember to change the gauze." Mark hugged her tightly. It was probably because too many things had happened recently. He seemed agitated, and his blood was always boiling, as if he had sought a fight. The air was filled with her scent again, which was why he couldn't stay home tonight. "Do you believe we will be together forever?" Evelyn was startled and asked him, "What's wrong? Why are you suddenly asking this?" "Answer me," Mark said coquettishly. Evelyn had no choice but to say, "Yes, of course. We will be together forever." Evelyn thought it was probably because her parents had an accident in the summer. That was why he felt so uneasy. He was still a child. Mark smiled bitterly. Idiot. You didn't know what I meant, but you agreed so easily. Ugh, what a fool. Evelyn. Suddenly, Mark called her name. This was the first time Mark had called her by her name so seriously. Evelyn was stunned for a moment. Her heart was also beating wildly. What? Mark let go of her and smiled evilly. I just want to know how you would react to the voice that all women I've met call sexy. Tisk, this reaction is not bad. Evelyn was so angry that she gritted her teeth. She picked up the sofa pillow and threw it at him. Mark, how many times have I told you? I am your sister. You are not allowed to tease me. Mark said goodbye to her with a wicked smile and walked out of the house. Evelyn rolled her eyes, put on her best smile, and headed to work. The afternoon passed quickly. When 5 o'clock rolled around, Evelyn felt angsty. She had a feeling that Harvey would appear. She couldn't help but wonder if the next person to come in would be Harvey. She had always been nervous about this. Evelyn bit her lips. They had only separated yesterday, and it was still such a terrible time right now. But Evelyn couldn't help but think, will Harvey come, or won't he? What is he doing right now? In the CEO's office of the Cage Group, Harvey listened to Zach's report absent-mindedly. After thinking about something, he suddenly said to the man, Zach, I need a woman. Zach was shocked for a second before he pushed his glasses up. I see. Are the CEO's needs still the same as before? Long hair, beautiful, and D-cups or above? Harvey frowned and looked at him unhappily. I just need someone to take my beastly nature out on. That is all. The corner of Zach's mouth twitched and he replied, The president needs to get some lust out of his system. Zach, you've become more and more resistant to my directives as of late. Are you challenging my position? I wouldn't dare. Since the CEO isn't looking for a prostitute or quick fling, what would you like? Zach asked as he pushed his glasses up on his face. He was an assistant who wouldn't have teased his superiors in the past. After all, the CEO's assistant's job was to obey orders. But recently, he had more and more often felt that he couldn't continue to back down and let Harvey take advantage as he stepped over the line with the requests he made. At the thought of this, the image of Raquel emerged in Zach's mind. You're smart, Zach. Did you hear me? I told you the woman you should seek for me needs to be cute and sweet, Harvey demanded. Zach pushed his glasses up again and asked Harvey, What is it my boss is trying to do? Isn't it the sweet types that you hate? Harvey's handsome face darkened as he nodded vigorously. Agreed. I normally dislike that type of woman, but a man can change. Zach fell silent. Based on his recent comments, it was possible that he was distracted. It was early in the night when Harvey appeared at the restaurant. He was wearing a handsome dark blue suit, which immediately attracted everyone's attention. At the front entrance, the sweet and cute girl had already arrived. She looked at Harvey with excitement. Harvey, you're here! The girl greeted him with a smile. There were 2 dimples at the corner of her mouth, and her skin was soft. Her smile was extremely sweet, and her enormous eyes were blinking in a flirtatious way. Harvey's hooded gaze darkened as he sized up the young girl. Your name is Kristen, right? Kristen nodded on cue. Harvey bent his arm and said faintly, Not bad. Come with me. This flattered Kristen, and she went forward to put her hand on Harvey's arm. Her face was bright red. He differed from what the rumors said. It was said that Harvey didn't like being touched by others and was very cold to women. Could it be that he had honestly found her so stunning to fall for her on sight? Oh my God! She hyperventilated a bit. That would be a dream come true. Harvey did not care if she was going to faint or not. He brought her to the 2nd floor, and Evelyn was standing at the stairs. She was worried about whether Harvey would appear when she saw Harvey and a woman coming up to her. Evelyn's smile froze for a moment. Her heart suddenly ached, and she panicked a little. No, she had already said that she had nothing to do with him. Besides, wasn't he that kind of person? This kind of... Evelyn tried her best to regulate her breathing and silently scolded herself. Harvey was no longer part of her life, and she needed to act nonchalantly. Welcome, Evelyn said calmly as she gave a welcoming smile to the pair. Harvey nodded. I've booked a table. He didn't see Evelyn's expression, although he wanted to look closer. He also hated this kind of thing. It was like a woman playing tricks and bringing her boyfriend to show off in front of her ex-boyfriend. This kind of game had never been his thing. But jealousy might be the best medicine for Evelyn. After he thought about it, he realized that his pursuit of Evelyn might have blinded him to the truth. Many people adored him, but had never really known the type of woman he truly wanted for himself. He needed someone who adored him and just him in her heart, no matter what. It must be like this. How could Evelyn still think about that Timothy? He was better than Timothy. He had to make her understand and see him as the man she should be with. Therefore, Harvey, who normally felt above such ploys, found a woman that would make her jealous and realize what she was missing. Harvey no longer cared about being childish. Nothing made him more anxious than wanting her. Would Harvey's ploy be able to make Evelyn jealous? Or would Evelyn's stubbornness have the upper hand? Was La Grenouille, the ground zero of most of the confrontations between the two, about to experience a new drama unfold?